put a bid in, each company will have 8 minutes to present any last minute information. The committee has looked at all of the bids. We've talked about it, we've discussed it, we've made calls back to, I think each company here has probably got 1 or 2 calls from members of the committee or the commission or the county executive. We pretty well have a solid hold on what you presented. There may be a couple of questions. You'll have 8 minutes to present what you want to present and discuss back and forth. There'll be 2 minutes after that for questions. Please do not interrupt each other. It's time. All right. We're going to start. AMR is our current, so we'll hold y'all to last, so you'll have the final presentation time. And first call or care minute, which one wants to go first? First one, go ahead. Put your hand up and go. All right, I'll make a decision. You spoke up first.
I'll talk first. If you want us to come up there, just talk first.
However you feel comfortable.
I'll be happy to just talk. First of all, I'm David Grayson, the CEO of CareMed, and I guess my first employee. And this is Stan Alford. CareMed is based in Oxford, Mississippi. We currently operate in 5 Mississippi counties for 911. Stan and I both come from an EMS background, having worked for multiple different places in our career, mainly the larger companies. And we decided to venture off into this business and build a community, more local flavor business. So, you know, we want to put together a system that it feels like it's yours. It's local, it's locally based. We will be partners with you. I don't want to come here and tell you how to do EMS. You know probably better than I do. But we want to, if we get a chance to come and work with you, that would be our goal. I'll let Stan, you want to add anything to that? I think, is there any questions, other questions that we can provide? I'll be happy to answer any of those.
There's at least 2 for your company.
Okay. Sorry?
There's at least 2 for your company that I know of. Commissioner, this is CareMed?
Yes.
Have at him. He's here to answer questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Questions? Any questions you have? Number 1, the way you listed it was option 3. It said 224 and 212, and I had been asked previously on that, is that going to be, or would that be 1 24-hour on each end and then 1 12-hour on each end each day with a total of 4 ambulances, 2 of them being 24-hour ambulances and 2 of them being 12-hour ambulances?
Yes, that's correct.
That is correct. So it is 4 because that somehow the question had come up about the 4. If it was 2 or 4, there's just a little bit of a.
I think the hours of that would kind of depend on the demand.
With demand,
yeah.
So your higher demand will have the 2 after you look at the time and qualify. Second question was, you had mentioned in your proposal what was it? AEMC for a staffing. Was that what that read? Advanced EMT as a possibility for staffing on a ALS ambulance. Tennessee does not allow for that we can do. Okay. So will that be an issue? That's what you had in your bid. It referred to it will be staffed with either a paramedic or AEMT. Is that going to be an issue at all? So the paramedic.
We're going to do whatever the Tennessee State Department of Health regulates for us to do.
Just if y'all was to be awarded the bid, we just don't want to get into anything.
Yes.
Well, we didn't know that when we put the bid in, so we're going to withdraw. Because, you know, if we proceed, these other 2 ain't going to be just real happy, I'm sure, you know, if we proceed with y'all. So if we proceed with y'all,
yes, sir.
You know what you presented and you're going to stand by it.
Yes, sir.
And the state code that says it's paramedic, not a I think that's on page 4 of y'all's bid pack. Okay. Anything else for?
I got a question.
Yes.
Being from Mississippi, you're not local around here. If emergency should arise, how are you going to get mutual aid from other agencies?
Well, in every one of our Mississippi counties, we operate kind of like we would here. We have pockets throughout the state where we're at. So we're not, some of our areas are not contiguous with one another. When we sign mutual aid agreements with all the surrounding counties, they help us, we help them. So we would extend that same offer to the counties surrounding here, is to reach out to them and say, hey, you know, it's in the best interest of all the surrounding counties to work together, let's sign a mutual aid. In the event of a disaster, significant event.
Next question I have is,
I do have a question. When it says that you'll train like the fire department and stuff for the first responder, like when do you think that's gonna, if we was to do that, when do you think that would be?
We currently do it once a year in Mississippi for some of the counties that we have. So I would imagine we would probably extend that same up here. It would be depending on what the fire chiefs kind of want, what they need. We want to be partners with them because they're kind of an extension of us, right?
Yeah.
And so if the need is out there for us to have a class every year, we'll have a class every year.
You had another one?
yeah. I know what it was. You've got the ambulances, you've got mutual aid. The mutual aid is only for emergencies only, or are you gonna do convalescent runs for other counties should they need it? I mean, if they've,
Are you gonna do out of county convalescent runs as part of your mutual aid agreement?
I'll answer that how we currently operate.
Convalescent will only
I'm
be
not
from
going
King
to
County.
a Polk County ambulance and do a non-emergency call for another county. Emergencies is what we'll be talking about this morning.
right,
That's a biggie.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and that's exactly how we're doing it. I'm not going to take kind of yours. I might do non-emergency in another county, but it will be with other ambulances, right? So,
Other questions for Kevin?
I kind of have one for both them and the first call. Did you all find everything, within the call volume, through the CAD system, were you able to get that information as far as the call volume, what you feel best suits the county for the need that we have?
yes, everything we got.
It was a significant amount of data that we got, and I was able to take it and turn it into a spreadsheet where we can manipulate it and look into the different call demand times and all that. And I think we've got a significant grasp on when the call volume peaks and all that. Of course, there'll be a learning curve for us, right? But I think for starting out, we have a pretty decent grasp.
So this one 12-hour ALS quick response vehicle, how would that regulate?
That would be like a Tahoe or an Explorer. Would have
Be on both ends and all?
Well, you would have one in the county. So essentially the design is a 24-hour truck on each side, a 12-hour truck on each side, and the QRV is what we call it, to float in between. So if everybody on the east side got busy, that vehicle could move over there. And the idea is to get interventional care to patients as quick as possible. And so if all these guys over here are at a hospital somewhere on their way back, that paramedic can respond to the scene, start care, while another ambulance, either from the west side or a hospital, responds to take over.
I'm going to follow up on that. Are you saying the QRV will be on at the time the 2 12-hour ambulances are on?
Well, it would be 12 hours a day is what we've got it designed to start with. I can't tell you what time it would start and stop each day. We're going to look more at the data, look at, talk to y'all, talk to the fire guys, see when peak call times are. And it may fluctuate, summertime when it's really, really busy during these hours, we may have it different times than we would in the winter. So we really want to design the system. When we say community-based, it's not going to be the same hours, the same time, every day, 365 days a year. We want to mold the system based upon what happens in Polk County. Right.
The only worry that I had, and we keep talking about 3, I think we've all kind of talked about 3 for Chevy. We know what option 1 is. We've operated on that for years. That's 2 and 2. There's no question on what that is. And option 2 is a 90% completion. We know what y'all have to do to hit that. So the option 3 becomes a question more than anything. So if we've got one on at night on each end. under the 12-hour, I'm sorry, the 24-hour minus the 2 12 hours work. So I guess my question is, you know, if that QRV is on at that same time, then at least that gives a little backup when one of them goes out on a call. The QRV can be in that area too, taking in the calls that come up, especially minor calls, at least till somebody else can get there. That's why I was asking about that. I didn't know what time frame y'all were looking at putting the QRV. It is QRV, not just SUV. It is equipped.
Correct.
Any other questions for CareMed? Nothing? All right, we're going with, thank you. Yes, sir. Now, the vote will possibly come up tonight at the commission meeting as well.
We appreciate the opportunity. Thank y'all.
First call, next up. That's y'all. Same format, and have at it.
Thank you guys for allowing us to come in and talk to you. My name is Scott Yates. I'm the president and CEO of First Call. I've got Josh Logan with me. A couple of things I'll highlight, and we'll give plenty of time for question and answer for here. So First Call is a Tennessee-based ambulance company. We've been around since 2004. We run emergency service in Cobb County and have for a bunch of years. So we understand we run a lot of non-emergency in the Middle Tennessee area and around Nashville. So 8 stations scattered throughout the state. So we're very familiar with all the state regs and familiar with all the importance of mutual aid in counties. It's very, very important to our Cobb County operations. We are a veteran-owned small business. Very proud of that. And we have, on a scale standpoint, we have about 300 employees, and we run about 50 ambulances every day in all of our markets. So we feel comfortable about understanding what the needs are of a community this size and the needs of other communities around Tennessee. I'm going to let Josh talk a little about his experience. He has intimate knowledge of this area from previous.
So yeah, I used to work in this area, McMinn County and Monroe County, before moving to Nashville. So I think especially the employees' biggest worry, they don't like change, they don't like, they're afraid they're going to lose seniority that they have built up with AMR stuff. And our goal is to make it, if we were awarded the contract, to make it a smooth transition. We're not worried about insurance or financial burdens. I'm sure they've voiced those concerns to you all.
As a general philosophy of First Call, we're here for the citizens of the community. That's first and foremost. We take that obviously very serious as a first responder in Cobb County, but we take it very serious in all the markets we're in. We take a lot of pride in a number of markets in and around Nashville, where we partner with the county service. And we feel like we are going as a team to serve those citizens. In Polk County, what we saw in our presentation, it will be really important to work with all of the public safety people in the county. So close work with fire departments, close with police, communications, so that we're all in this together to serve the citizens. But I'd rather leave more opportunity for questions if there's something we clarify in our proposal.
I don't think there's any question on you notice as far as when the ambulances will be under your option 3. Option 2 was I think y'all listed a SUV, not QRV in option 2.
Option 2, I mean, personally like a performance-based type approach. It's just as with CareMed, so we appreciate all the information that's provided. It's still kind of tough to see exactly and real predictive of what the county would need. So we took a stab at performance-based. We kind of we expect to load heavy. What that one had was 3 ALS ambulances. And another important piece, we would definitely have a spare ALS ambulance on site in the county that could be deployed by, obviously if one of the ones breaks down, but it could be deployed if needed in times of call demand. And how you would deploy that would be with where the director is, and if we're running one or two, option 2 had 2 quick response vehicles, one on each side of the county.
Okay.
And at any time, either the director and the person operating the paramedic guard in the QRV could pair up and be on an ambulance. That would provide even more coverage. In the option 3 for your $720,000 constraint, it was 3 ALS ambulances, 1 spare in the county at all times, and then we would have a QRV running similar to what Karen had talked about, would be more like a day truck. And I think we proposed, based on the data we saw, Monday through Friday, 10 hours a day. Now, just as they said, I think it's prudent to say, when is that going to be the greatest need? Is it always going to be Monday through Friday? But in the summer months, when you've got a lot of rafting trips on the Ocoee on Saturdays and Sundays, that may need to switch and run more and more availability during those days.
And y'all would be open to making that in a contract agreement with the county executive as to any slight changes to your bid proposal?
Absolutely.
Questions for first call?
And you as well found the data that was through the CAD system sufficient for your bid proposal?
It was very, very helpful. Thank you.
And I'm just asking that because I know AMR that you all have that information, but just to make sure that both those that have bid, assure the commission that you did receive the information and it was specific enough to help you in determining your bid.
We had one that turned in that they didn't think they had enough info to turn in a bid. And, just looking at what y'all would have got, if nothing else, they should have had a ballpark bid they could have turned in. No doubt about it. That's my opinion. But
Yeah, we understand that Polk County is different than Cobb County, but we know what's happened. The whole COVID transition has on what's normal and what's the new normal. Things are changing. So we try to base this on as much history as we can. With it. So feel good about what you provided. Thank you very much.
Other questions? Y'all ain't gonna let them off this easy. Somebody hit with something.
This option 3, where you've got the 3 ALS is just one on the east side, how many people are on duty for that during the nighttime or the off time?
Yeah, so for the option 3, having 2 ambulances on the west side, 2 ambulances on the east side, and then the QRV on the east side.
Option 3 just says 3 ambulances on the total.
2 on the west side, 1 on the east side.
Yeah, 2 on the west side and 1 on the east side, right? So 3 total with the spare, but the quick response vehicle working 10 hours a day would most likely be on the east side, waiting on calls. Does that make sense?
To fill the gap.
To fill the gap, right? Yeah. We wouldn't expect the quick response vehicle to be on the west side of the mountain, be on the east side. And then the director would be the ability to deploy with the QRV during those hours in the spare ambulance. 4 trucks.
So would the spare ambulance be on the east side too?
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
We could put this in that scenario. We didn't specify where the spare ambulance would be. We wanted to, but it could be wherever it's best suited for it. And it's not in the proposal where it would be, but it would probably most likely be on the east side for that scenario.
Any other? All minds clear. Appreciate it. We will now go to AMR. You've got 8 minutes for a quick presentation and then 2 minutes to float with questions, and we'll do it just like Lady Doug.
I'll take this time to thank you all for allowing us to present our proposal to you tonight. I've been the director here in Polk County since the merger with AMR and Rural Metro. Been a lifelong county resident. Took my EMT license, got my first EMT license in 1976 right here in Polk County. So I'm proud to have been able to serve here in Polk County for that whole 44 years. We've got some folks with us tonight. If you look at the blue shirts in the back here in the old courtroom, just with the blue shirts here, there's over 115 years of EMS experience. That's one of the things I'm real proud of here at Polk County. Our guys have been here a long time. They've worked hard and they're proud to be here. They serve the community well, and we want to continue to be here. Now, at this time, I'll go ahead and let Regional Director Josh Spencer continue the presentation.
Yeah, I'll just do a real quick highlight kind of our proposal. I know we've met numerous times over the last 6 or 8 months and kind of what brought us to this point. So real quick, option 1 for us, the reason there's sticker shock there probably for you guys is exactly what Jamie mentioned. The reason our bid is so much higher than some of the others is because our employees sitting in this room make a good wage to live here and work here. They've been with this company for a very long time, and so the delta of that number is strictly wages. And so I think that's something I wanted to make sure I mentioned to you, because I know 1.3 million is a lot of money, but compared to the other bids, the reason is we have tenured employees that have been here for a long time. They live and work in this community, and they've got raises every year. They're good employees, and that's the reason why that number is what it is. So wanted to make sure I highlighted that real quick. For option 2 and 3, really and I've said this before, but what you really need here is, what you're asking for is response times. You want to meet these response times with however many trucks it takes to meet these response times. I didn't feel like it was important, and I've said this before, I didn't feel like it was important to say we'll give you 2 trucks or 10 trucks. What's important is we're going to meet these response times based on this contract. That's what you've asked for. We believe that with the data that we have, being the provider for so long and knowing the information that we know, which is similar to what they've received, we believe that that's 4 trucks in the daytime and 2 trucks at night. With the assistance from McMinn County, which we operate in if needed, they can come over to help, or we can call mutual aid as needed as well. So that's what we think it takes to meet these response times. And the only thing that really is different from our proposal from some of the others is the fact that we have these employees that make a lot of money, and that's good. I'm proud of that. The one thing I will not do is cut their pay and turn my back and walk away from them. If the issue is that the bid is too high to have 4 24-hour ambulances, then it is what it is. And we'll offer them employment other places, whether that's McMinn, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Washington State for that matter. AMR serves in 4,000 communities across the United States. The one thing we have is experience. We do this every single day. We know how to understand the data, how to read the data, and how to get the communities what they need. Right now, you have too many ambulances that are not being productive during the downtime. So and that's what's costing so much money to have 4 24-hour trucks. But I was going to let Wes Harrell, our Director of Government Relations, he had some comments as well. He's been very helpful in the proposal process, so I'm going to let him kind of step up and fill in any gaps I may have missed.
And Josh mentioned pretty much anything. The only other thing I would add too is that, in speaking with Jamie, there's been 0 complaints. So it's not like there's been all these issues and EMS is coming and your phones are ringing off the hook because of response times or because of clinical issues or patient care issues. It's just not happening. And the reason for that is because we've got the best crews in the state, and that comes at a price. It just does. We do, as Josh mentioned, we do serve over 4,000 communities. Some look at us as a huge operation and not local, but we are local because we've been here for 9 years. And I think that's really important to know. The 4,000 communities comes into play because it allows you to pull from those other areas for protocols and all these other things when you're dealing with patients. Just as if you were to go to a physician and you had a critical surgery that needed to take place, one physician had done 4,000 surgeries and the other one had done 1 or 2 or 3, you might be a little more cautious of who you selected for that surgery, just from an experience perspective. It's not just nationally, but it's locally as well. So, but again, that's really it. They haven't had any complaints. They've been doing a fantastic job. Jamie is honestly the best, and I think you guys know that who know Jamie. So he's one of the best. So with that, we'll just open the door and any questions you all may have. So.
I've got one question and one comment. Actually, I've got 2 comments. You brought up the pay scale, and your boys are making good for the type of work that y'all are doing. They're making good money. I mean, not overcompensated, but it's a good salary. Sure.
But when I look at the comparison charts and what's been handed in, you're fairly well in line with what some of your competition has presented to us in their proposal. Therefore, the comment about it being so much more because your people are making better money doesn't seem to pan out on that perspective.
They're all basically it's right there together.
But another thing,
The pay rates?
yeah, the pays. I mean, y'all in the same ballpark.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that they're more. I'm saying you're
Okay.
substantially
Sure.
within range
Okay.
of both these providers. As far as no complaints on time, we had several complaints coming in for a while. We addressed it, and AMR did address the issue. Some of it seemed to have come from the fact of standby ambulances at the McMinn County line when calls here weren't getting the quite response time needed. It was addressed, it was taken care of, but there were complaints on response time in the county in the last 2 years. At least
Yeah, I did
the
have-
commission, I don't know whether they come to y'all, but it sure come to us.
Okay.
I feel like y'all have done an adequate job. Yes, we have had complaints to the point we had to call meetings before.
Sure.
Those were addressed.
And they were addressed.
I would say that would probably happen in any county, in any community, in any time.
Oh, yeah, what we're saying as far as no complaints, that wasn't accurate either, somewhere in between. So, we've had to call a couple of meetings, call complaints. And then, did we ever figure out, what happened about the snake bite in Springtown that time? They waited.
Can we use our 10 minutes to talk about the proposal? I mean, if we only get 10 minutes, I want to make sure we take the most. Is there other questions related to the proposal that we can answer?
I got a question on your proposal
Thank you.
here. Proposal for option number 2 or 3 is 720,000. And basically you say the difference is cutting down probably just to 1 ambulance during the night.
2 at night.
On each side, one on each side.
On option 3, we propose to meet the response time this year required.
They didn't put the specifics.
Right, but he just explained.
Yes, we believe it's going to
It's
take
probably gonna be 2 on.
2 24-hour ambulances and 2 12-hour ambulances to meet those response times.
So you're backing 1 ambulance off 12 hours
Correct.
per day, and that's worth $620,000.
2 12-hour ambulances.
2 12-hour
Yes.
ambulances worth $620,000 in salvage.
Yes.
I want a job.
Yeah. We're taking applications. Okay. I mean, it's the downtime. That's the issue. It's, there's about, I think we're in per unit hour utilization in Polk County is like 0.08. So that means 0.92% of the hour they're not running a transport. Had the hospital still be open and all those things that were the case, 4 24-hour ambulances makes sense. And in our proposal, we even mentioned that were something to happen like that, if the hospital were to reopen, that changes the dynamic of the county. Goodyear drop a plant down there in Ducktown, anything like that, and that changes things change when those things happen. But as it is today, running 2,200 transports or so a year with 4 24-hour ambulances, it comes at a cost. I mean, it's expensive to do that because there's so much time that's not being utilized.
And the performance-based contract is exactly what you're paying today. And there's many county colleges in the country that do a performance-based contract, and then it falls back on the provider to meet the performance. And if you show up and it takes 5 trucks, 6 trucks, 7 trucks to meet the performance norms, then that's what it takes. Like, you can't back down from that because there's penalties associated with it. So, again, the performance-based agreement makes complete sense.
If there's no more pressing questions, they're at the 10-minute mark. Any other statements? Any other quick statements on this? Any other questions?
Question for you, were you able to work out any agreement with them to get an extra 30 days so we can consider this each proposal?
No, sir. We talked 2 times in the last week. We talked Tuesday night from about 9:15-ish to probably 10 o'clock. And then we spoke again today, if I'm not mistaken, And Josh said that he would, or AMR has said that they would like to see how the vote goes tonight as far as the proposals before they would think of entering into another 30-day contract extension. So as of right now,
That forces us to choose tonight.
What's another option?
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell.
I mean,
If our
We can sign-
time's up in 2 weeks, then we're.
we can
forced.
sign a 1-year extension
For what price?
for $720,000 for option 2.
That would just be us picking the, nah,
I understand, but you see what I'm saying? Is that we've kicked the can down the road for 6 months.
I thought you was gonna say option one like we're at now, and I was gonna say, well.
No.
Then that's.
But depending on what you guys, how you vote tonight or whatever, I mean, I'm just not prepared to make a decision to enter into 30 more days, because what's gonna happen is we have to keep our employees here, you know, and that's the fact. I mean, if I were an employee in Polk County and I knew I might not have a job in 31 days, I'd start looking for a job. So it puts us in a tough spot.
understood.
But y'all plan on keeping everybody.
100%. That's the rates.
Appreciate y'all's time.
Sure.
Time is up. Does the committee have any motions or statements they want to make? The presentation's over, and we're sitting right on 7 o'clock. Is there anything that y'all want to do? If not, we will conclude the committee meeting. Go on.
Start the regular meeting.
That's